Hello and welcome to CloudFolks Hub. My name is Bhavesh Atara and we have started project ECS. As you know that we have total 9 steps for project ECS, and in this video we are going to start step number 1, build a secure network environment. So let's start. Here I am going to start with introduction first. Before hosting our app, we need a safe and structured network using Amazon VPC. We need to have public subnet, we need to have private subnet, we need to set up NAT Gateway to provide internet connectivity of our VPC. We need to set up NAT Gateway to provide outbound internet connectivity for our task. And as you want to set up public subnet and private subnet, we need to set up route table. Okay, now note, we already discussed about ECS service network configuration in the video ECS project step 8 ECS service networking part 5. We are going to set up this kind of VPC infrastructure. Now if you want to understand this in more deeply manner, what you can do, you can go to our ECS training videos, and there is a video with the title ECS project step 8 ECS service networking part 5. You will find out this into your LMS. If you don't have idea about public subnet or private subnet, you can watch this video and you will get better understanding about this. Right now I'm not discussing more about public subnet and private subnet. Why? Because here we are going to implement all this practically, so I'm not going to explain you theoretical point right now. Okay, this is actually our target. If you look at over here, we want to set up our virtual private cloud, means VPC. We are going to use AP South 1A and AP South 1B. As I am doing this lab into India, I am using 2 availabilities on AP South 1A and 1B. If you are doing your lab in your region, if you are doing this lab from abroad, you can use your any 2 availability zone. Here we are actually going to create 2 public subnet and 2 private subnet. Why we are creating 2 public subnets? Because we want to set up 1 public subnet into each one availability zone. We are going to set up everything in a redundant manner. So if any availability zone goes down, I don't need to worry about this because I have my resources running into the another availability zone. So that's why we are actually going to set up VPC with multiple public subnet and multiple private subnet. Right now this diagram is the most important part because we want to set up exactly like this. Okay. Now, note, this is most important note. Since we are using Fargate in our ECS cluster, we don't need to create VPC before the cluster. Fargate gives us flexibility to create or select a VPC later. Look, when we are going to use Fargate, we need to select VPC subnet while we are creating service. During cluster creation, we don't need to worry about this, right? So if you are using Fargate infrastructure for your ECS cluster, if you are creating VPC first or later after cluster creation, no need to worry, because during cluster creation, we do not need to set up any VPC. But keep this in mind if we are using Fargate. If you are using EC2 instances as a container host, as a part of your cluster, you have to set up VPC first, then you can create cluster. Because during your cluster creation, while you choose EC2, you have to select subnet for your EC2 instance, right? So right now sequence doesn't matter, although we are actually going step by step. We are creating VPC first and then we will set up cluster, right? Okay, this is what I already explained you. If we use EC2 launch type, you must create VPC first. Okay, now let's start our process. Step 1.1, create VPC. Look here, I have provided you all the step-by-step detail with the name of the specific resource as well. I'm not going to follow this. Why? Because if I'm going to follow this thing, it is going to take time. But I have provided you all this detail over here. Why? Because after watching all the videos of project, you guys can implement this and you will get step-by-step detail from this particular mind map. So you do not need to watch video entirely again. Just get all the step-by-step detail from the mind map and you can implement this. Okay. But do not start project with me. I want you to complete all the videos of project, then perform lab according to mind map steps. Okay. So I'm going to the VPC first. Now here by default in AWS, we have one default VPC, right? So right now I have deleted this, but it is looking like this. Let me create this first. See, we have default VPC. I recommended you to delete this VPC and then create new VPC according to what I am providing you in this step. There are so many students, what they are doing, they have default VPC already in place and they are creating new one. Technically it is not wrong. I am not saying it is wrong. But the matter is, if you have multiple VPC, it can create confusion. Because then you have multiple root table and so many things together. So, while we are learning, we want clean and clear environment. Okay, we don't want any confusion. So that's why it is always good idea to delete this default VPC, right? I am also going to delete this. I have to acknowledge this. And now I have no VPC. Let's create VPC. So you have to select your region. As I am from India, I am selecting Mumbai. You can select your region according to your country or location. Let me click on create VPC. Here I have to provide name. I'm going to provide this name app VPC. Now I have to provide CIDR IP address range. I'm using 192.168.0.0/24. We already discussed about everything related to VPC during our VPC training. So if you don't have any idea about it, you can watch VPC videos as well that you can find out from LMS. So create VPC. Now my VPC has been created. Next step is to create subnet. As you know that we need to create 4 subnets. Okay. Here I provided you details about subnet IP address and name. There are many students who is giving any names like random names, which is actually creates confusion. Okay. So when you are going to perform lab first time, I recommended you to use same public IP address name, same subnet name and same IP address range. Okay. Right now we are going to use this particular IP address range. If you don't know about IP address range, no need to worry about this. You can go back to the VPC section. You can watch all this video. You will get idea. But right now, whatever I have provided you over here, we are going to use it. So don't worry about IP subnetting and all anything. Just concentrate on this particular project. Okay. So how we can do this? Let me click on create subnet. First of all, we need to select our VPC. This is our app VPC. Now our first subnet. Look, I already provided you everything, right? So you have to copy this public subnet 1. Now we want to create 2 public subnet, 1 in each availability zone. So here I am going to select AP South 1 A. Now IP address block. This is IP address block. It is 192.168.0.0/26. Done. Now let me copy this again. Here from add new subnet, I can add second subnet as well. So I'm just going to paste this public subnet 2. I want to create this public subnet 2 into the AP South 1B. Here I have provided you IP address range. Right? Now make sure that you have 2 public subnet 1, public subnet 2. Very good. One subnet is in AP South 1A. Another subnet is in AP South 1B. Done. Now let's click on add new subnet. We are going to add our third subnet. Third subnet would be private subnet 1. Here availability zone AP South 1A. I already provided you IP address detail. So this is IP address. Let me add subnet 4, which is private subnet 2. Here I am going to choose AP South 1B IP address range. Added. Done. Let's verify this again. Private subnet 1, it is in AP South 1A 0128. Then we have private subnet 2, AP South 1B and 0.192. That's very good. Let me click on create subnet, and now here we will get list of all the 4 subnets. Let me clear the filter, and we have this 4 subnets. After completion of subnet, we are going to create internet gateway. Internet gateway is actually providing internet connectivity to our VPC. So we have internet gateways option over here. We don't have any gateway right now. So let me click on create internet gateway. Here I provided you name. It is my IGW. And let me click on create internet gateway. Now keep this in mind. Once you create internet gateway, you have to attach to VPC. So I'm going to click on attach to VPC. I'm going to select my VPC, which is actually app VPC, and attach internet gateway. Yes, it is done. And next step is to create NAT gateway. Now IGW is actually overall internet, which is providing internet connectivity to my VPC. But we have public subnet and private subnet. Now IGW means internet gateway is actually going to provide internet to the EC2 instance in a public subnet. Or in our case, it is going to provide internet connectivity to load balancer. Now we have our service, or what we call it like a task, into the private subnet. Now here we want to provide them outbound internet. Why we need to provide them outbound internet? Because when you will launch the task, it is going to download image from ECR. Sometimes we want to store data inside S3. So in this case, ECS task is going to access S3 over the internet. So for this, we need to provide outbound internet connectivity for the private subnet. And for this, we need to create NAT gateway. So here my VPC is actually attached. Let's go to the NAT gateway. NAT gateway is used to provide outbound internet connectivity to the private subnet. But
sorry to interrupt you. I know you guys are enjoying our video a lot, because our final ultimate goal is Solution Architect Certification exam. To reach the destination, we required full videos. Path number 1, our 6-in-1 program. Our 6-in-1 program include all prerequisite skills which is needed as a cloud engineer. It include 24/7 support, lifetime update, section-wise practice test, full course practice test with tips and tricks by Bhavesh Attara, how to do exam preparation course, weekly lifetime live session with Bhavesh Attara, and 6 AWS project with documents. Path number 2, you can enroll by paying 499 and get Hindi and English, both the languages, videos of AWS. The choice is yours how to create your success story by choosing best one. Best of luck. Thank you.